Hello, this is the IXP initiative kind of first year running report and how we put 1,500 credits to work for the community. My name is Ana Laura. I'm a full stack Drupal developer. I started 10 years ago as a webmaster. I didn't know anything about Drupal, but I have the luck to meet Carlos, who was at that point my technical account manager for a migration project. And Carlos taught me pretty much everything that I know today about Drupal. But that's a special case. You know, most people have to learn by themselves. And this is what it's all about.
And I'm Carlos Ospina, used to be a technical account manager. You guys over here know me, and I've been with Drupal since 2012. So let's dig in.
So
This is mine.
a few years ago, even before we started with the IXP program, what we found was that if you didn't have experience in Drupal, it was impossible to find a job. Every agency was asking a minimum of 2 years of experience. You need to know a little bit of site building, GitHub, content configuration management, a great list of tools that anybody that wanted to start with Drupal needed to have. But without the job experience, you could not have all these things. There is no school that teach all of those things on a single place. And if you are working by yourself, it's very rare that you get to use all these tools because it's just you and a website.
Yeah, I wanted to add, we were discussing before we started, right? Like how 10 years ago, we did changing the code, got off the island, added Composer, added a bunch of stuff that is good, that I was mentioning that last year, the creator of WordPress was talking about the roadmap, which is basically what we did in 2015 in terms of code. He was describing what we did. Clean up, objects, good practices, etc., something like that. And that was good. And for the longest time, we were commodity as Drupal developers, right? For the longest time, until about 3-4 years, almost pre-pandemic, maybe after the pandemic, we were commodities. If you're a Drupal developer and you lose your job, you're going to find a new job because there was not enough. That same reason made Drupal very expensive. By making it expensive, we went up into enterprise size, but then we became even expensive for that. And with the recession and AI trying to change the playground and everything, that's drying up. The result is we're not commodities anymore. Hence, if you don't have experience, and that is what the IXP is about. IXP stands for inexperience. If you're a person that went through a simple training, getting to know Drupal, if you're a person that went through the docs and learned Drupal, and you don't have experience, if you are old like me, you probably started doing a website for your neighbor, for the store in the corner, and that was doable in Drupal. You know, somebody would give you $500, $1,000, $2,000 for a website, and that was doable in Drupal. It became not as easy, especially because that would take you 10 hours, and now you can do the 10 hours somewhere else. $150 the hour, or you did them $1,500 in a easier way, not having to do a whole project, kind of. So inexperience lose that position, that starting point. You cannot do practice Drupal. So how did we discover this? Is with my son. So before DrupalCon Pittsburgh, my son, who is 24 today, was trying to find out what to do with his life. And I told him, if you don't have an idea, I do have one. Maybe you like it. I know you don't want to, he didn't want to be what that does. But I told him, look, in Drupal I know a lot of people. And at that time, we were discovering, we stopped being commodities. And it's pretty good for you. It can be pretty good. I know people might mean that you get a job. He accepted to do Mike Anello's Drupal Easy class for Drupal Career Online, which is very good. And we went to Pittsburgh to find a job for him. And it's the first year the Drupal Association did the job fair. Now they have done it in every DrupalCon so far, in the States at least. And we went to the job fair, and there were junior jobs, a few, with at least 2 years of experience. And we did the whole deal, and then we realized like he has no experience. He was getting really good in site building. He has very good instincts on CSS, on front end, but no experience, no job for him. So what do? I started talking about that. I talked to Ana Laura. I talked to Mike Anello, and we came out with what ended up being the IXP initiative, which is now the IXP program. So do you want to explain what's the IXP program?
So the IXP program is an official community initiative that is looking to help these inexperienced people to find a first job or an internship kind of job. We are requiring a minimum of 160 hours of paid job with a little bit better than a minimum salary. Is what we are asking. We didn't want it to put too many restrictions because we want this to be an open program for any kind of company, big, medium, small, any company from Latin America, Europe, any continent. So every company should be able to put their own rules. So we are just asking what is for us a minimum engagement with these inexperienced people, but we want it to be a paid job. What is the salary? You decide, depending on your country, on your area, how much you want to pay them. But it's a starting point. All the requirements are listed in this page, drupal.org/IXP, but these are the most basic things. Building mentorship is important. We think that transferring knowledge from a mentor, 1 hour per every 10 hours the inexperienced new hire is putting into a job. And the price is the company is going to get 250 credit for each engagement.
Contribution credits.
Contribution.
Because this is important. Like the only currency we have in Drupal is contribution, right? It's how you become a partner, how you get recognition, how you get up there on the pages of the company, so you are there. 250, so you have an idea, is several core patches. The equivalent. It is a lot of credits. A lot of credits. But it's important to say something. When you were talking about the payment, two things that are important. This is not about what the IXP is or what happened in the first year, but since we see new people, the first thing that we need to understand, this is not a training initiative. There is Open University, there are trainings, that's the training. This fits between your first job as a junior and that training, just in between. And it's an opportunity to get experience, to give experience to somebody. It's an internship. So what is the pay? Assume these people that is trying to get into Drupal, maybe their previous job, like my son, was doing produce in a supermarket, right? They're making $10 an hour in the States. You pay them 20, plus the experience to get into a trade or a skill that will actually make them money, it's a good deal. It's a good deal, and you get 250 credits.
And also the community gets a new developer that also knows how to contribute and also knows how to use Drupal in the right way. What are the other requirements? The other things that we are requiring to complete this, to get this 250 credits, is to upload some reports and a blog post at the end. That's the way that we make sure that this person 3 reports,
3 contribution credits.
3 contribution credits to the Drupal ecosystem. It could be a contrib module or core module.
It can be documentation, it can be a comment on an issue. Accessibility, design. We're looking for meaningful contribution. And by meaningful, if not that contribution where you go in an issue and say, oh yes, it happens. That's not a meaningful contribution. Oh yes, it happens when I turn on this module, this menu disappears. That's a meaningful contribution. It's guiding the solution. So anyway, what are 250 credits in Drupal.org and in contribution credits for Drupal? The Drupal Association put a value of around 250 credits will be 25K.
On investment.
On investment, in the value that the Drupal.org has put in that. If you want to become a partner, you need at least 150 credits for bronze, 500 for silver partner, and 1,000 for gold partner in Drupal.org. JD is in the auditorium.
What?
JD is in the auditorium.
Okay. Sorry.
Don't worry. You can do 4 IXPs a year in the program. So basically, if you help 4 people, new people into Drupal, gain experience, you basically have the credits to be a gold partner. And now, have you contributed to Drupal? You do a good issue, it gets approved, you maintain a module. I have, since I started with Parcera last year, I have created about 3 modules. I am now the maintainer of the AI Anthropic provider module, one of the maintainers, and Parcera barely has 60 credits. So to get 250 is pretty hard. So it's a lot of credits, and it's a good price.
Is there a way to see your credits now?
Yes, if you have a company, if you are the manager of the company, there is a menu about, you go to the company and it shows owner tools.
Okay. So as a normal contributor that I don't own the organization or have a role to it?
It might show somewhere, yes, but I don't remember where. So, what happened? So after Pittsburgh, I started talking with people. I discovered that Mike had the same idea. How do we make companies or help companies make the decision I'm going to get an intern? I'm from Latin America, so many companies in Latin America stopped doing that, and I don't know if that's the experience of Calabra or Uruguay here, but you will train somebody in an American company, or they will go to an event, an American company will pay them $80 an hour. And in our markets, that is barely what we're getting from our customers, right? In most cases, there are some areas, banking, government, that may pay a little bit more, but it's not like the standard. So they lost that trainee. And that happened several times to one of the companies participating that they told me. Part of that was the conversations with them. It's like, we're training people and then they go because we were commodity, remember? So what is the price? It's not the developer. Unless you have really good company culture, maybe you stay out of loyalty, but it's not what can be the goal. The only thing that we had, credit. So we started talking. finally, DrupalCon Lille, I talked to Tim Lennon from the Drupal Association. We've been talking, and he said, let's do it. And he created the IXP as an official initiative in Drupal. From there, we became an official program. So we finally defined everything, the requirements. We kept it, as Ana Laura said, very narrow. So what do you have to do? Give them experience. Real experience. Internal projects, external projects, whatever. These are inexperienced. You cannot put them in a customer project by themselves. They're gonna mess it up because they don't have the experience. By 2025, at the beginning of 2025, officially in Atlanta, we decided this is how it's gonna be, finally. And we started telling people, go, do it. And we have several companies in it. So what we want to tell you right now is how people have been using it to give you ideas on how to use it. And at the end, we're going to talk about what is my vision of how the IXP program can help with the larger issue of making Drupal popular or giving us access to actual low-budget projects.
So here are the results for the first year of this program running, or at least the pilot program. We have 9 engagements until today. 4 companies are involved, 4 different countries, and 1,024 hours of paid job. And as a result, we accredit 1,500 credits. We delivered
in total.
Yeah. And this was a busy work.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. Not for us, for the IXP. They created or helped with many custom modules, contributed modules. One of the IXPs, and we're going to tell you more about this, created a migration plugin for 500 plus sites that need to be migrated. They created storybook components, themes, designs, templates in Drupal CMS, and contributions to seven different Drupal.org contributed modules.
So IXPs are actually giving value, and this is across what everybody's doing. So this one first.
So the first company that got an engagement completed was the Digital Projects from Uruguay. They completed 2 engagements last year and were accredited 500 credits and completed 640 hours of work. Some of the work done included building an internal management system with Google Authentication, manage 50 plus sites with multi-site configuration. They adopt an IXP as their permanent onboarding model, and this is something that they're thinking to run from now. Every year. Any new junior developer or inexperienced developer that gets to the company, they will follow the same program. Here an example of what we are required from them to share their stories. So I cannot tell you all the details that we read about these people being engaged, feeling like they're accomplishing something with their lives, with what they have studied, and all the thank you for the support and for having these opportunities are in this blog post. So for each company, I try to take one example link. The second company is Digital Polygon. This one is from the United States. Yeah, 2 completely different companies with also 2 engagement and 500 credits, 320 hours. So here's the first example of each company can decide how they do it. We require some minimum of 160 hours, but if they want to hire full-time or part-time, it's their decision. The important part is have real experience with real use cases, with Drupal, with workflows, with teams, with project managers, with having a boss. For our Santi and for many of these people, it's their first time that they work remotely, and they just have to report what they're doing on a Harvest or Asana or Jira, any of these tools. So for us, this 320 hours is a success every time.
Yeah, that's exactly what they require.
It's more than what we required, and it's amazing. This team created this plugin that we were talking about that migrated 500 plus websites with different configuration and different conditions for a single client. They created also a storybook components library and atomic design, contribute to Path Auto, to experience building, and Gene.
Seed. Seed is a long-time Drupal company in Colombia. Seed, and we all in Latin America know them. They were leaders on the community for the longest time. They are the company I'm talking that had an indirect result in this program because they are the ones that were training a lot of Colombians and they were being spoiled. Like I stopped training. So that's what made me realize the developer is not the price. It's very hard, especially in a very commoditized Drupal development at the time, that the developer is the price. It's not going to stay. No matter how good you are as a company, $15 an hour versus 60, and I'm just making numbers here, these are not real, but it's kind of that different. Nothing competes to that. So Seed is being part of this. They did 2 engagements at the beginning of 2025. They're doing 2 engagements now. They already were awarded 500 credits. They're going for the other 500 credits. They have paid on, so far, what is reported, 384 hours. Hasn't been reported on the ones that are ongoing, because they haven't delivered the reports that we require. 2 reports every 2 weeks, 1 from the mentor, 1 from the IXP, and 2 reports at the end of the engagement, 1 from the mentor, 1 from the IXP. Kind of work that they've been doing, custom modules, blog features. They actually are creating site templates, getting ready for the marketplace, for blog and restaurants, and they have the IXPs helping with that. So that's an interesting and very good value-adding project for an intern, right? Something that comes to the marketplace can be sold, can become an income way. They work, they have hired, because this is very interesting, this is not just for developers. So the actual one of their IXPs right now, their inexperienced people, is a designer working on design for Drupal. So this is for site builders, for designers, for developers, for new people that doesn't have experience, doesn't have to be documenters, QAs. So I love this story because they're already on their second 2 engagements that should finish soon. So by DrupalCon, we probably have been done 2,000 credits. And this is a new one. It's Stan Ren from Costa Rica. This is the first one because we didn't talk about this. This is the first hire through a Drupal jobs board. So if you're a company and you don't have training programs, which the other companies have, for digital projects, they get people from the university, no idea which one. From Digital Polygon, they have their own training program, And for seed, there is an institution in Colombia called SENA, SENA, and every company is required to have 2 students from that institution, because it's a government institution, and it's technical training, to hire them in an internship with some conditions every year. It's part of your tax or government requirements. So they're using that to train them in Drupal and take advantage of the IXP. This one is the first, but you can create a job post. Usually costs like $1,500 in jobs.drupal.org, but you can get a coupon. So you, in our site, you can send me a message, or you can send us a message in Drupal Slack. We get you a coupon, and you can publish a free job post. This is the first one that happened that way. They hire somebody for 20 hours a week, Victoria, I believe is her name, of this IXP. And she's going to be working on SDCs, Mercury Editor, and AI-assisted development. And also that you don't have to, full hire somebody to do this. So why do I think there is an opportunity? Drupal CMS. If you have been speaking to me, I've been arguing that not only Drupal CMS is very good, Drupal CMS opens again that hobbies level, open that low budget projects level. It's easy, it's graphical, you add canvas to that, they can edit the page, they can work on that. But it also becomes an opportunity for somebody using an ISP. You have low wage resource. And this is not a bad thing. It's the nature of being an intern, right? You're learning. Your price is not just the money you're making, your price is the skill you're learning as well. And I hope for people that is learning Drupal, this can be a possibility. We're actually speaking in Drupal in a day in DrupalCon, doing a Drupal in a day, and which is oriented to the student. I want to present it that way to them as well. But for companies, imagine you put an IXP to work in a Drupal CMS project for a customer. Yes, it's a low budget project. Imagine it's a $2,000, $1,500 project. Your resource, guided by a mentor, only has to do some site building, really, because everything comes in the template. And actually a 1,500 project becomes a 20, 30, 40% gain, right? Profit. Why? Because you're using the tools that are there. Yes, this is not for the bank that needs security. This is not for the big company that needs to have GitHub and configuration management. Yes, they will not be paying $1,000. They will be ready to pay the money that costs. But it's an opportunity. CDM proved it. They're already building templates to sell. So their blog template is meant to be a product at the end, built by IXP, supervised by the mentors, and of course, the rest of the team will do the final.
So, as a summary for the year 2025, we got these numbers that a company can use. If you want to start with one engagement, you will get, or you will have to pay for 160 hours of this IXP work. Then you will get 250 credits, and you will get the bronze status. The Drupal certified partner requires this amount of credits for the bronze for the first level, and also I think you have to pay some money to get. And you will appear on the Drupal partners, the Drupal.org partners. But if you want to build this as a continuous program on your company, and you get to hire 4 engagements, you can reach the gold partner for 1 year. You have to do this every year to get the certified partner. And this is the case of digital projects who made this their permanent board. And you could keep your status on the Drupal certified partner program with just this 4 trainees a year.
So this is, if you are a company, what do you get out of that? This is what you can get out of that. And I will repeat this, 250 credits. For you to get 250 credits with just contribution, that is basically, I believe Acquia was the highest contribution and basically contribute, what, 80% of the code we have in Drupal Canvas? I'm making this up, don't kill me. They have like 40,000 in total. And if you go to the third one on that list, on highest contributions, we're talking about 9,000. So 250, not that easy to come. But the reason the Drupal Association accepted or proposed this number is because this is the biggest contribution that you can make. No amount of lines of code compares to a new person in the Drupal community. Helping the code, helping, learning the community, etc. If you are a new person, you, for some reason, saw Drupal CMS, Canvas, you think, hey, you should learn Drupal, but you don't find a job, this is also an opportunity to present your case to companies that do this, right? If that company is interested in being a Drupal certified partner in the Drupal Association, and the Drupal Association is actually working harder on giving more benefits for being a partner, so that making it more
Appealing?
appealing? How do you say that? Yeah, appealing. I can do that. You can tell them, IXP is not charity, but you don't have to pay me that much. I don't need a developer salary. I'm an intern. I want to learn. Pay me a decent wage, but you don't have to pay me the high salary of a senior developer. And it's a value exchange. What do I get? I get experience. Give me experience. You have projects, Drupal give me experience. And thanks to that, you hire me for 160 hours. If you make that weeks, that is what? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 4 weeks of work? And you get 250 credits. And you do that 2 times and you are a gold partner. You can pay for a gold partner. The value that the Drupal Association does for credits is 25,000. So theoretically, you will have to pay 25,000 in senior developer money to get 250 credits. That's the calculation. So it's a win-win. So you can present it like that. You can tell the company you're going to help them move into as partners. And for me, as the inexperienced, I get experience. I get my first 4 weeks or more, if I'm very good, hours of work. I get mentorship from somebody that actually knows. So you can learn how it works and also start making your case, and let's try to get companies. It's been hard for companies to join. And it's been a little, not disappointing, but sad to see that we have been talking about this for 3 years, and it doesn't seem to be getting the traction. And it's because I believe we're distracted on trying to get back into that enterprisey area of work. But this opens the possibility for new people, new projects, a different type of engagement.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Any more information that you want to get about the program? We have presentations from last year at this camp, at Florida Camp. You can find the video from the Drupal Florida Camp YouTube channel, and also from the DrupalCon in Atlanta. But all the details that you need are in drupal.org/IXP. This is I think this is a path for success for everybody involved, for IXPs, for companies, and also for our community. 250 credits per engagement will get you to the bronze level, and we are looking forward for ways to make this more valuable for companies. So let us know if you have any questions. We also have a Slack channel in the Drupal official Slack. So look for us as IXP Fellowship. And this is Carlos and Anilu. And we are also on Drupal.org if you want to read about our history with Drupal and contributions. We have a small group of people involved that have been helping us.
Yeah, it's good to give recognition to Mike Canelo, who helped shape the program, Sarah Lorenzen, who is somebody that's new to Drupal coming from WordPress and helped us with some design and the website that we used to follow to track all this. And Raul, and Borja, and Tim Lennon, and all the people that have listened to me talking about this tirelessly.
So, any questions?
Yeah.
I might miss this because I think people talk about this. I don't know. What are credits and why would a company want to get a credit, or how does that?
That's a fantastic question, and that's very important because recently, oh my God, I forget the name, but one of the biggest associations, if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, open source organizations have been trying to get and are asking about this because they will backtrack. The biggest question in open source is how do we recognize contribution? The biggest question in open source, how do we differentiate between the makers and the takers?
That's true.
And I would argue that there is a middle ground where what I call a strong word, but I don't mean it as a strong word, but I call it the fakers, and it's just because it rhymes. But it's the people that say, oh, I contribute so much, I'm so good. But when you dig in, it's not so, right? Like, all contributions are meaningful, but there's people that contribute and actually shape Drupal. There's people that have a lot of contributions and they actually say, yes, this is amazing. And that happens. But anyway, how do you differentiate that? So the Drupal world came out with this idea, contribution credits. So there is a system. It's a system that has several conditions so nobody gains the system. So credits that I earn right now last for a year. If I'm working for my company, if you're working for Calabria, and you contribute and you as a person have 100 credits, you cannot go to another company and take those credits with you. Right? So that company cannot gain the system. I know that's part of the controls, the maintenance of modules, the core contributors that can push and commit to core have the opportunity on an issue to give credit to everybody that participated.
Okay.
So at the end of a big issue, they can go there and see this person, who helped shape that issue in the right way.
Right.
As I said at the beginning, we're looking for meaningful contributions, and sadly, there is, I can't remember what is the name, that is happening a lot. And if you have contributed in any open source, it's happening nowadays, especially with AI it works, but with some smaller countries, sweatshops, where you create an issue, and the next day you get 20 comments, and none of them are adding anything to the issue.
Right.
Yeah, those are not meaningful contributions. But if you did a meaningful contribution, that is small, right? Like, it's like, I followed these steps and I got the same issue. You don't have to give the solution. That's a meaningful contribution. That is telling the maintainer of the module, whoever is looking at the bug, okay, I can follow these steps and I can replicate, which is the first step for a bug, whatever. They can give you credit. So those credits become Drupal credits. And right now, the only goal of Drupal credits is recognition. So there is a list in order of how many credits you have in the marketing. So when somebody goes to Drupal.org and I need a partner in Uruguay to see who it is, there is a top. And on the top of that is whoever has more contributions.
Okay, I see. So it's a way of bringing people. So
As contributors.
and with the IPX program, what we're trying to do is to
Use that.
use that system so we can get more people to build up their reputation and also contribute back.
More to entice companies. If you are a Drupal company, right?
Right.
If your source of work is coming from the marketing of Drupal.org, let's say it that way. If you care about it, really you have to care about it as a company in Drupal, and you want to get hired, or you want to be a Drupal certified partner that has some benefits as well, right? You get discounts, I believe, you can publish case studies in Drupal.org, you can now, if you're not a Drupal certified partner. And I know the Drupal Association is kind of expanding that. They want to have a private RFP kind of center. So it's only for Drupal certified partners or qualified actual leads coming from whoever is looking Drupal,
Okay.
trying to become, if I'm a company looking for Drupal work, I go to the Drupal.org, who do you recommend? Whoever contributes more. It also shows you actually know your stuff,
Right.
because you're contributing. So the Drupal contribution system, which is complex in the backend, is that you contribute, you get some points. Those points are shown and represented on what you have done. To become a partner, you need to have certain number of those points. 150 for bronze level, 500 I believe for silver, and 1,000 for gold. So that's it. It's a very good system, and it's actually recognized in the open source world as the best system for contribution recognition.
Right. So with that in mind,
And it's our only currency. I don't know. Sorry for interrupting. But it's our only currency. So what can we give a company? We cannot give them money.
right? Okay.
We can, as I mentioned, we cannot assume they gain the developer. I mean, you have to be a really good company, but especially because in my mind we're Latin American countries and smaller markets, right? If we're still commodity, a European or American company can steal that developer because they need it. But that was our only currency at hand.
So I guess the reason the credit system is a bit better, or you try and push it, is because even if you don't have a lot of resources, like you have a lot of money, like you're from America, or someone like Costa Rica, the credit system based off of how much you're contributing to Drupal would kind of level the scales a bit.
Yep.
So that way, if one person from Nicaragua is contributing, they put in, let's say, 600 credits, they got collect that a year. A company gets 600 credits. They would have more reputation. It might help them get more leads for jobs. When they search at Drupal.org, they'll be part of the certified partners, I imagine.
Correct.
So the thing I'm trying to figure out is how does the IPX program, what's to entice more people to come in to Drupal? How does bringing the IPX program, which is supposed to bring in more people into the community, impact Drupal's ability to, I guess, reward people to join? Not so much to join, but like reward people who are contributing to Drupal. Is it just every new intern that you bring in, you try to focus these companies towards developing Drupal core, or is it more just
Drupal
trying to
in
get people
general.
in?
Drupal in general. So one of the problems we are having, and it's clear for everybody that has been here in Drupal, is we're getting old.
Okay.
No new people is coming. All this, JavaScript stuff is what people is using. I have another complete set of opinions about that. But I do believe Drupal is good, and it's very good at what it does, and it's becoming way better with Drupal Drupal CMS and everything that is happening, but we don't get new people. But then we added another problem. As I said before, when we were commodity, and I said this before, we used to be commodity. We didn't have many Drupal developers, and we had, if not a lot of people using Drupal, was a lot of companies with money using Drupal. So somebody wanted a Drupal developer, you were commodity, you will get hired, etc. Right? That is gone. So now you learn Drupal, you come here, and you need to eat. You cannot work in Drupal. There is no job for you. We're opening a way to find a job, to get the foot on the door of actually making a career in Drupal. For you as a new person. For the company, we're trying to give them the opportunity of becoming a certified partner. So,
and you're kind of hoping that this Drupal CMS would bring in people, because I remember in the last class you were talking about, you felt like Drupal needs to expand its market beyond just enterprise to get more regular people into it, the same way people approach WordPress. And I kind of wanted to, since I have your time right now, just hear more about why you think that matters a lot, how this
it's very important. One of the most powerful stories that I've heard in Drupal is MVC for the longest time was one of the biggest companies in Drupal. How it started, somebody in marketing wanted to do a POC, they did a POC in Drupal, that was awesome. Why in Drupal? What's the message? Even at the high levels, you start with a small site, you may become a big site, right? In IXP terms, most of us, we learn by doing small sites. The old people learn, like Drupal. Do you need a website? Oh, I can do that. Here's your website. Oh, here are $200. Awesome. That became a no. Right? Now my time is $100 an hour. Not doing that. But then everybody in Wix and Squarespace came. So now you're a new person. Like, I want to do Drupal. How do I make money? Yeah, no, go get experience. Come back when you have 2 years of experience. Now we can pay you. And that is the situation that is happening or started happening.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to call.
Trying to get sense. Yeah.
And why do we need people? Because it's the small sites that create usage, more information to make it better, sites that are going to grow up, sites that are going to go up the pyramid of low, medium, high budget projects. It's what makes Drupal big. It's what makes WordPress big. They have a lot of basic websites. And why was Microsoft and has Microsoft always been more powerful in terms of desktop? Because everybody knows it.
Right.
It's not because it's better.
Right.
So that's kind of
You think that's-
simplifying my point of view.
I see it now. I see it.
Thank
I'm looking forward to the growth of Drupal CMS then.
Yeah.
At least in my experience, I didn't learn Drupal as my first choice. It was WordPress. But I learned Drupal because they knew I had PHP experience. So they say, hey, us senior people know Drupal. We're continuing to build this system for the government or for the higher ed. Can you learn this? And I said, yes. So I was learning build for Drupal sites as well. But there wasn't a lot of local demand. Like I would never hear someone that would say, hey, I'm looking to build a website for my clothing business. Do you know Drupal? No, it would be Shopify or WordPress. One of those two options. So I understand what you're